Hey y'all, and welcome to another Kymology Exhibit where I plan to be fully all over the place because, well, I guess that's just who I am right now, especially until I stop saying that. So, a couple things I want to exhibit in this exhibit are some thoughts about Father's Day, some thoughts about the new moon and starting a next challenge, and some thoughts about confidence and irreverence. So which should we start with? Continuing to work on not saying just gonna keep saying that until that goes away. Let's start with Father's Day. So no, let's start with irreverence and confidence actually. And what I want to say about that is it's a walk. It's like a real walk. It feels like balance. Sometimes the word balance comes to words. When you say walk a line, that implies this idea of balance. And I generally poo-poo balance. Like, balance is not something I strive for. Balance is one of those positivity spam things that get said a lot, and I think get said pretty casually. And there have been times that I've thought about it, and I've thought, I don't think balance is the way. I don't think that striving for balance is like the focus. And I used to have this analogy. This isn't really the topic I was going for, so I'm a little underprepared in my thinking, I think, but I can't say under because I don't believe in two, so not as prepared as I might like to be. It had to do with a seesaw. And if you were balanced on a seesaw, so as an individual, you have to be standing in the middle of the seesaw. Maybe I should have a way to demonstrate this. So if this is the seesaw, you have to be standing here in order for it not to be this way. So you might say, well, that's not a good analogy, Kim, because a seesaw is meant to have things on both sides. So the point is that you would have like one thing on this side and the other thing on this side, and that you're supposed to do them enough that it stays like even. I just don't know about that. Like, I don't think that's the way to do life. Like, in order to not upset this side, I can only do this side so much, means that I never fully do this side. And I'm just saying there's probably something in that balance stuff that ain't good. So I'm not striving for that. And the reason balance came up because I use the phrase, I feel like I'm walking a line when it comes to like confidence and being humble and being irreverent and saying what I really think, but still caring what other people think, because if you've been following my work, you know that I don't subscribe to the you shouldn't care what people think thing. So all this is really coming from a place that I got some feedback that someone basically said that they were watching some of my recent exhibits, the videos, and that they want to hear me be more me. And that felt mixy and a little sticky for me, because here I am, like Little Miss Authenticity, being told you're not being yourself is kind of unsettling, right? And so while I am Little Miss Authenticity and I believe bigly in that and I strive for that, I am also not immune to caring what people think, in addition to not subscribing to I don't think you should not care what other people think. So the videos that this person was just referring to specifically were the thoughts about Deuter, the messy thoughts about Deuter, and the video about my 30-day challenge. Both were difficult topics were uniquely or especially difficult topics for me to be strongly, this is it and this is my way and this is what I think, because they were very separately, they were different. One was like saying, I think I made a mistake when I killed my dog. And the other was like, hey, do this 30-day challenge with me. So one was selling, which I am wildly uncomfortable about and need to get over. And the other was knowing that I was going to get a lot of comments back about that because people want to help each other. And it actually turned out I got 0 comments about that video or any posts I did about it, probably because I so prefaced it with all this stuff about like commenting. So that was ironic. So what I think I'm just wanting to express in this moment on the heels of some of that feedback is that I preach being authentic. I strive to demonstrate authenticity at a level that I see as unique and different and not common in the world. And I'm also not perfect at it, and I am still trying to be. So if I ever sound like wishy-washy about my own thing, that's real for me. That is my authenticity, because this actually brings in the topic of, I once said, like, do you think it's important to, recently in an exhibit, I said, do you think it's important to state this is my opinion before saying this is my opinion? Or is that implied? And I've thought more about that since, and I think that's a lot of where my orientation comes from. Like, I actually don't think that whatever I say is the right way or the good way for everyone, and maybe not even myself. Like, it is in the moment, but I don't know that that's not going to change. So it's really important for me to say things in a way that isn't bossy or telling or demanding or controlling, or like, these are all things that I am actively always, I think, striving not to portray. And so I do that in a way that it might end up sounding like I'm not confident about my own thing or confident about something I'm saying, because it's really important to me. And I guess a very clear example would be great right now. So I have a hard time saying something like, you should do a 30-day challenge with me, with that car salesy tone. And that's because you, like, I shouldn't do it that way. You shouldn't do it that way. The car salesman probably shouldn't do it that way. But I ultimately feel like we're all out here discerning stuff for ourselves, and that it's important to convey that it's just your opinion always. And maybe that is coming across in a way that is not attractive sometimes. So the feedback was to be a little more irreverent. And if I believe you're either are or you're not, it's not more, then just be irreverent. And the other problem or hardship with that is that sometimes the thoughts that I'm sharing aren't thoughts that are fully figured out. So how do you convey that when I don't want to be married to a thought? I want to tell you that I have the thought, but it's not the only thought I have, and it might not be the like landing thought that I have. So the one that was about my dog, and I was like, I think I made a mistake. I was trying to say that, but probably got really long-winded and maybe made it like a whole other thing. Anyway, those are my thoughts about irreverence and confidence. Let's talk about thoughts about Father's Day and see if I can apply some confidence and irreverence in this. So first, I woke up today and forgot that it was Father's Day. It's kind of a weird way to say that, because it's not that I actually forgot, because I've been thinking about it all week. Probably not in ways that I should have been thinking about it, meaning I was thinking about getting a card for Joey as a dog dad more than I was thinking about it. Made me sad, or made me think a lot about my dad, although it did. It just, maybe I should be sadder about it or something, but I'm not. What does that mean? Saying it that way makes me an asshole, and that's where I get into the like wishy-washy part of just say what you really think, Kim. And like, what I really think is what I just said, but apparently that might sound wishy-washy. I don't know. Still trying here, you know? So thoughts about Father's Day. Another thought I had today was, I once was told, and I think this has happened a couple of times. One time is coming to mind very strongly. I have been told that, how was it put? This is how it went. With all that's going on in the world, you're basically a shitty person for talking about yourself. And this was in the context of COVID. And I think at the time I was sharing about a body challenge or my thoughts about myself. And with all that's going on in the world, I should have a little regard for that, for other people, and for this hardship. Like, I should have been focused more on COVID than my health or myself or something. And I'm clearly representing it how I felt about it, because I thought this is bullshit. This is like a not a good way to perceive the world. That was my opinion. But those kinds of things also sting. Like when someone's like, you're a bad person because you're focused on the wrong thing. Sometimes that stuff does unsettle you. That is real, and that's not being too sensitive and some other shit. So when I was thinking about Father's Day, and the first thing I thought was like, I want to continue to share about what is going on for me, what's important to me, which is that there's a new moon and I'm starting a new challenge, and I have invited other people to start a new challenge, and I'm setting that up for other people, and there's still time to sign up if you're still on the fence. And so that is what I wanted to share about. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should share about Father's Day first. And then I was like, okay, that's not an authentic feeling, in the sense that like that's not what I woke up wanting to share about. And then I had hesitancy about sharing what I really wanted to share about, because it's Father's Day in the world today, and maybe I should be thinking about fathers more than myself. And I might get a comment like that, and I'll probably get more thoughts than I'll get comments about that, because that's the way the world and people are. So had that thought, sharing it here, which is, it's Father's Day, and I woke up not thinking about it right away like I do most holidays. Like when it's Christmas, it's not noon before you realize it's Christmas, and that happened today. It wasn't noon, but it was later than I woke up, and Joey left for the day without me saying Happy Father's Day, and I don't feel like a terrible person for that, because he's going to get a really nice card today. But it occurred to me like that it was different, and it also occurs to me that I don't celebrate things that other people celebrate or think that I should celebrate, like awareness day or month. They might be great causes, and they don't have to be important to me. They don't even have to be like that. I don't necessarily, they're not nothing to me, but I don't have to share about it on the day or whatever it is. So Father's Day, I guess, is that to me, because maybe I should be thinking more about my dad, and maybe I think about him a lot on other days that aren't Father's Day, and I'm going to try to be irreverent about the fact that I'm not making this a big day about that. It's not what happened for me. All right, so that about Father's Day. And the other thing I want to share about is my 30-day challenge. So new moons, new beginnings, great time to start things. This is going to be a video, so this is not going to be contemporary to what you've been seeing me sharing about. I am starting a challenge, and I'm also offering a guided challenge. And one of the things I wanted to share about in all of that is the choosing of a topic. That seems to be something that hangs people up. Like, I don't know what I would do. The other thing that hangs people up is I'm not ready. And the other thing is I don't have time. Those seem to be the three things. And the one of the three that I want to talk about today, because it's actually going on for me, is how to choose a topic. So I've been doing 30-day challenges for 8 to 9 years now, and I've done more than 40. I did the count recently. And sometimes the challenge, I have felt to do a challenge, and I've also specifically felt the topic at the same time. Sometimes I have felt to do a challenge, and I've had a variety of topics in my mind to choose from, and it was more about doing a challenge and picking a focus than it was like, I want to focus on this thing. This time, it has been that for me, that there is a laundry list of things, of possibilities that I have interest in, and it's not glaringly clear to me what one I should do. So I thought you should share that with folks, because if other people are having that challenge about doing a challenge for themselves, then maybe it would be helpful for them to know that you have that challenge too. So I'm looking over here because I have been working in my workbook. That's something that I do. I like write down my thoughts and have like pages and pages of work in these books over years. And on this page was about options for my 30-day challenge. And some of those things, and I've been thinking about this for about a month. So there have been ideas in my head. Some of them have been like, oh, that'll probably be it, or that will definitely be it. And then a little while later, I feel clearly like that's no longer it, and I think that's important to pay attention to. So some of the things that have been or on the list and are still on the list are, I thought about doing 30 days of no social media. That is very the antithesis of Kymology in a lot of ways, because I very much am not a person who subscribes to social media as the devil and causes all these problems and is negative and is gaslighting or highlighting or all the shit that gets said about social media. I don't subscribe to any of that. I think it's how you use it, and I use it for what I consider to be good, and I shouldn't need a break if that's the case. And it wasn't that I felt I needed a break, but there was something there for me, and part of that something included how to make sure that it didn't come across as some kind of like social media detox that I don't believe in. And so far at one point I felt like I very much want to do this, and at this point, it's like kind of not even on my radar, although it still is, because it was in this space of a time of considering. So I'm sharing that it was there. 30 Days of Deuter was another one that I felt a thought that I had that went with that was people are probably tired of hearing about deuter. And the next thought to that was that probably isn't a good reason to not do a challenge about deuter. All that also includes that I also think, I don't know that I want to do a challenge about deuter right now, because I feel like I have kind of done an unofficial challenge about deuter, meaning I was very deuter focused in different ways for what feels like an extended period of time. And so while I want to do a 30 days of deuter, like I have done 30 days of mom and 30 days of dad, and 30 days of deuter feels like a great next person of a focus to do, I currently feel not right now, although I haven't completely decided, and it's on the list of things for possible of my challenges. Also on the list is 30 days of body, because I do a body/health focus about every year, and usually in a spring or early summer season, because I feel fat and a little unhealthy. And as soon as I say that, I immediately feel like qualify or defend it, because someone is going to say you're not fat, or like I'm asking for attention by even saying that, and should say it better, and all this stuff. And so how to say what the hell I really think, show some irreverence, but be authentic, that's interesting, because all of those are my real thoughts. So 30 days of social media, 30 days of deuter, 30 days of body. I have also thought 30 days of art. This has been on and off my list for years now, and I have never done 30 days of art or 30 days of a sketchbook. I follow some art accounts that do like a painting a day, and that's really interesting to me. And then when you get into the specifics of a challenge, when you do the Kymology challenge or challenge my way, it's really important to be very specific. So it quickly becomes, is it 30 days of art, 30 days of a sketchbook, 30 days of painting? Because I love like the simplicity or idea of a painting a day, but what if I didn't want to paint that day and I just wanted to be a drawing that day? And someone hearing me say that might be like, well, just do whatever you feel, but that's not a challenge. Not a Kymology challenge, meaning like you got to make the rules and you got to follow the rules of your challenge. So 30 days of art, painting, drawing, sketchbook, something like that is an option. And purging/organizing stuff. I have a very large shed, and I have maybe been a pack rat, borderline hoarder for years now. There's some stuff in that shed that hasn't been opened or touched in at least 10 years. And it's been on my list to like clean, clear, purge, organize, and sell stuff for years. And I have been doing it in a small way for years now, but I have continued to have the idea to do it in a big way. And that has been a topic for possible of this challenge as well. Also feels probably not the one for right now. 30 days of website. My website was hacked and then I shut it down in April. I have really been feeling the effects of not having a website, and additional reasons have been either illuminated or confirmed in the lack of having it. So I definitely feel a strong urge, or like I do want to have a website again. So I could do a website in 30 days. That could be a thing. And 30 days of Duck was one, not in the way of like how I would do him as a person, but actually Duck training. So I want him to be a great dog, and he doesn't have to be a great dog. He doesn't have to be a very highly or well-trained dog to be a great dog to me. And I have had feelings towards like wanting to have a more trained dog than I've ever had before. I've had Kaya, Sotsi, Deuter, and now Ducks. I have 4 dogs so far, currently 3 dead, 1 alive. And of those 4 dogs, I got really nervous that I was forgetting one, which is a weird feeling just here. Of those 4 dogs, I would not consider myself a person who highly trained them. They were not like super well-behaved dogs. And saying that, I also feel to add, I am also not a person who necessarily likes or thinks a highly trained dog is necessarily good. Meaning, like, for me to tell a dog to sit and for them to like obey that command and not leave the spot for 3 to 5 hours, which someone might say is a demonstration of like a highly trained elite dog. I don't like that. I'm not going for that. That's not ideal to me. However, it would be ideal to have a dog that listened when I said something, didn't drag me on a walk, didn't jump on people when we went to visit or had visitors, who came every time I called, some stuff like that. And so I've never had that. And Duck is like they're all special, and his special is like he's really smart. Not that the others weren't smart or special, but like you'll understand if you understand. He's really smart and really wants to please in a way that feels unique that I have not experienced before. And he's also still young enough that I think I could have like a considerable impact with him. So doing like a very saturated, dedicated training time and period with him sounds interesting to me. So those are some of my topics. It is like less than 12 hours before the start day, and I haven't decided. I'm also doing a guided challenge, so I'm setting up other people for their challenges, and it is somewhat of a challenge to do that with my challenge, because setting myself up and helping others get set up takes time and energy, and that compounds. So I am actually really excited about both, and I do think that I so far have put more energy into setting up the guided challenge than I've put into my own challenge, but that makes sense for me because once that's set, I'll feel energetically grounded and differently, ideally able to focus on my own thing. So I'm about in that space right now, and I felt to record this as part of the process because choosing the topic for a challenge can sometimes be a reason that you don't do a challenge when you otherwise feel drawn to it. And that is one of the Kymisms of my work, which is to be paying attention to what you're attracted to or drawn to, and not often or always or frequently putting that kind of stuff on hold or back burners or on a list for later, because I do that a lot. I have a lot of lists and a lot of things on lists for later, and I'm working with that. And so noticing what I'm drawn to and drawing on those areas, and then seeing which one kind of comes to the top or feels the one that I'm most attracted to in a time, is what I am working on now. And I will choose one for my own setup to start tomorrow. So confidence and irreverence, Father's Day, and like how you should be paying attention to things maybe, and how to choose a topic for a 3-day challenge. Thoughts for today. Thanks for being here. Ciao for now.